Good morning, afternoon, or evening to you, maybe. Well, I promised that we will talk about the pelvis and how to turn the pelvis back, which is pelvis retroversion. Now, I'm just going to give you a few reasons why I care so much about teaching you this at the moment. The first reason why we care is what I called in the documents you got the rule number 3. Posture rule number 3 states that if you want a stable building, it needs to rest on stable foundations. In other words, if you buy a countryside house and you renovate the roof without checking first the foundations, well, possibly you're going to renovate the roof every 2-3 years if the foundations are shaky. So if we apply rule number 3 to the pelvis and we say, okay, if the pelvis is actually the foundations of the spine, i.e. the central nervous system. In other words, if your pelvis is not under control, you mess up your spine, i.e. the protection of your central nervous system. I think this in itself would be an argument enough to care for your pelvis. But actually there are many more reasons. Let me cite 3 more. One more reason is that the pelvis is fascinating. Look, we just said the pelvis needs to be stable so that the spine is stable. Okay, good. But look on what this pelvis is built. The pelvis is built on something super unstable, which is called the legs. The legs are meant to move. So actually we're trying to have control over something that looks like a transition piece, you know, like a damper or something. It's here to make sure that something which is built on instability will be stable. I mean, this is super important in terms of understanding the pelvis. Now, there are 2 other reasons why we need to care. Reason number 1 is that many people stand like this. And as I will show you, this can only be resolved if you resolve your pelvis. So, I mean, resolving that is actually helping many people to reduce their lower back pain. Reason number 4 is, look, this is static, a violation of rule 1, yeah? It's a hollow back. But look, if now I try to walk in this direction, my weight is pulling me in this direction whilst I'm trying to move in that direction. You see that it cannot be optimized. There's necessarily something wrong when I walk like this. So again, resolving this at pelvic level will help us to have, both from a static and from a dynamic point of view, a much better way to move. And a much better way to move means less pain. Okay? So now, what are we going to try to do today? What we're going to try to do is to learn how to do this. Yeah? This is called flattening your back, or reducing lumbar lordosis if we want to do it scientific. The problem is that when most people do that, yeah, actually what happens is this, which is not at all the same. Yeah? It can be for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is they start at the wrong place. If they start with the pelvis forward, well, it can only go wrong. Reason number 2 is once you have taught them that they should start from here, they don't master pure rotation. They have a rotation which is combined with the shift forward, and that creates a messy back shape. So actually, as a clinician, as a posture therapist, one of my jobs that is usually at session 4, yeah, the 4th session or so, is to start teaching them pure pelvic rotation. Pure means we really turn properly, but we don't shift back or forth. Yeah? And we have to do this step by step. What I want to do this afternoon is show you the 4 steps. Let's go. Step number 1 is an exercise which you actually already know. It's this famous exercise on 4s, which I've showed for other reasons. When I do this exercise with people, I actually teach them that they can move their pelvis, yeah, 1, without pain, 2, without any parasite movement, you know, they don't go like this, like that, la la. the control of your pelvis in this position is super easy, because you see you have 4 points of contact with the ground. So actually you're super stable. You're much more stable than when you stand. When you stand, you have only 2 points of contact with the ground. So this is why it's step one. Step one is make people move their pelvis in a very controlled fashion. Yeah? Once this is acquired, and it usually goes quite quickly, we go to step two, and step two is I go from 4 points of contact to 2 points of contact. You see, okay, they are big points of contact, but they are still 2. It's only my 2 lower legs. Yeah? And there, the step we're adding is showing them that you can actually move your pelvis under a torso that does not do anything, or that does do almost nothing. You see? So the idea is to have your shoulders stable and to have the pelvis moving under your shoulders. Yeah? That's why I'm usually a bit off my heels. It makes it easier. At this stage, they usually start to feel, and you have to tell them, or you have to tell yourself actually, that what hollows your back is the lower back muscles, which go here, as well as the iliopsoas. You can check in the muscle playlist of the Posture Guru. There is a video on iliopsoas. These are the 2 muscles hollowing your back. The muscles that we're learning how to use to flatten the back, they are the glutes and the lower abdominals here under your belly button. Okay, so at stage 2, we teach people that once their torso, represented by their shoulders, do not move, they can actually rotate their pelvis. Okay? This takes usually another week or another session. Yeah? Now we will switch to even more difficult. More difficult means more unstable. You see, when I stand, I'm less stable than when I kneel. But to make it a bit easier, I will stand with my forehead supported by my hands. I could be leaning on a shelf like I'm now, or I could be leaning on the wall. And you see, I'm doing exactly the same exercise as when I was kneeling. I'm doing round, flat, hollow, flat. And there the goal is to learn that your belly button should not get any closer to the shelf or to the wall. So what you have to learn is in a perfectly supported manner, yeah, this. Yeah? This takes another session, yeah? 1 to 2 weeks depending on the rhythm. And then we go to the last stage. The last stage is to have your arms in a position which resembles more your daily life activities, i.e. your arms in front of you when you hold something. And once you know that, once you know step 3, you can pull your pelvis back, and whilst holding a chair or anything, do a hollow flat round. So you see, at first I'm really gripping the chair, I'm holding it, and it's stabilizing me, and my focus is on this distance. You know, I make sure that this distance remains untouched, remains perfect, yeah, remains the same. And little by little, I'm gonna grip the chair less and less, till the point where I can just put 2 fingers on the chair, shelf or the chair. So you see, actually, there's no more weight transfer. I mean, it's only resting on 2 fingers. So the 2 fingers give me a reference point, but no more, no less. Once I master that, I'm ready to let go and make sure that my pelvis turns one way and the other without shifting forward. That is how you learn static, the pelvic retroversion. So from on-force to kneeling to standing with your hands on the wall to standing holding something and then nothing. This is static. And then you learn the dynamic way, which is okay, I have my back hollow, flat, and my arms cross loosely in front of my hip joint. And now I'm just going to press on my big toes, showing you what my feet are doing so that you see clearly what's happening there. You see, I'm just pushing on my big toes, yeah, This is the thing. And once I manage to do this leg movement, sorry, replacing the iPad. Once I manage to do this leg movement, yeah, with my pelvis behind me and my back flat, shift the first gear, and that's called walking. Yeah, so this is how we go from simple and stable to complex but static to complex and dynamic. And this is the general logic of posture therapy, which is the logic that I follow in all my online posture programs, whereby you can just focus on one goal at a time, one goal per day or per week or per whatever, and thereby you acquire pure movements until you make things a bit more complex, and little by little you regain control of your body. So just train along this process. If you're interested at least in protecting your lower back, take, I would say, a few days to a week between two steps, and well, send me your ideas for next week topics. I mean, we'll meet, if it's okay with you, on Sunday, 9 a.m. New York time, 3 p.m. Central European time. And till then, I wish you a beautiful Sunday and a wonderful week. Take care.